Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today for our webinar, Coach Kevin Sports Corner. I am Coach Kevin. I am the lead counselor for student athletes at Hale Education Group based here in Dubai. I have been with Hale now for over a year, which has been a really great experience. I've been in Dubai now for almost 5 years, believe it or not. 5 years goes by really fast. Prior to my role here in Dubai, I was the assistant women's tennis coach at Tufts University in the U.S., Division III school. Tennis is my background, and hence where Coach Kevin comes from, the tennis background of mine. And that's really where I offer my expertise here at Hale, is for student athletes as they navigate a complicated, ever-changing recruiting environment. So for today, we will be talking about the NCAA recruiting process now in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic. Okay. Okay, here we go. So, can a student athlete be recruited now? And that answer is absolutely. So this current period is actually an equalizer for our international student athletes all around the world. We have student athletes working with us in Singapore, Taiwan, Switzerland, and many other places in between, which is fantastic. And also some students in the US. And so it is definitely a time to be recruited and to focus on this process. Like I mentioned in prior meetings, this process is a relationship, just like any other we have in life. We have to keep up that communication, keep up that dialogue with coaches. And so this is the perfect time to really start that dialogue. For those of us who are not in the United States, it's a great opportunity to reconnect with coaches and learn more about their programs in a virtual way, which would be really no different than what we would do otherwise. What can I do now in terms of my recruiting? So this is a very interesting time we're in, because most of us are not allowed outside for an extended period of time, and no one can really train or compete for their respective sport. And in some way they can train. So the first thing that I suggest all student athletes to do is have a FaceTime or a Zoom call with a coach. It's a really great way to have a face-to-face conversation, just like this one in some way. Where you can get to know the coach, get to know what their coaching style is like, ask them those questions that you can't ask anybody else about these programs because they know best. It's also a really interesting time because as I'll get to later, FaceTime and Zoom calls don't have to just be with the coach. They can be with other people as well. The other thing is virtual campus tours. So a lot of college campuses in the United States are offering these type of campus tours. They are your way of seeing campus, and usually it's all its beauty. Normally you don't see campuses on the rainy days, even though they do exist in some places. Take a virtual campus tour. See what the student hall, student center looks like. See what the dining hall looks like. Check out some of the reviews about the food, because the food is very important. And see where you'll be spending 3 or 4, maybe more years. Join school information sessions. A lot of schools are moving online with their virtual information sessions. So you have a chance to sit in for 30 minutes to 40 minutes, learn more about the school. There are different types of offerings for programs for different schools within a larger university, perhaps financial aid opportunities, scholarships, very particular things about each school that makes them unique come out of these information sessions. The other thing that's important is connecting with admissions officers, professors, and community members at these specific schools. So this, you might be wondering, why are you talking about this? Why is this coming out? Well, the recruiting process is not just one that you do with the coach. You also have to apply formally, go through the formal admissions process, and any additional network or communication you have with the university is helpful in this process. And so connecting with those admissions officers, professors at these schools will be great to have more information, have someone to chat to and ask them the more personal questions, especially about specific majors. Like, for example, let's say one wants to study English at Boston University. Okay, great. However, maybe you don't know anyone that studied English or studied at Boston University or studied English at Boston University. So this could be a great way to connect with those individuals who can help you further. And the last thing on this is conducting research on the school and the athletic program that goes with it. There is a lot of different facets of athletic programs. It's not just, oh, this team did really well last year, or they won the NCAA title, or they won their conference title. All those things are great, but there's more to look into. For example, are most of the student athletes international or American citizens or from the United States? A mixture? What is that? How many seniors are on the team? These are important questions to ask and think about, because as the recruiting process continues to develop over the next few months, the coaches will be looking at who are we going to accept on our team, what kind of student athlete are we looking for, and looking at the rosters, asking these questions about what a student athlete, what a typical student athlete on this team looks like is very important to take a look at. I also encourage you to research into some of the secondary offerings that come with being a varsity athlete, or just in general a community member at these schools. For example, we can look at athletic training. These are very important. The trainers become your best friends. Injuries do happen, so it's important to look at, okay, what is their training staff like? Are there opportunities for leadership? Like, there's often student athlete committees on campus that can be a chance for leadership. Can I be involved in intramural sports? Let's say you're one of those really gifted people who can play 3 sports, but you want to pick one in college. Myself, I played 2. I was a tennis player. I also played volleyball. And so I could play intramural volleyball when I wasn't playing tennis. Granted, my coach didn't like that because he was afraid I'd get injured, but that's neither here nor there. This is another way to look into these programs and see what interests you, because it's more than just the team, but the team is the kind of the primary focus here. So there are rules to the recruiting process, and the rules have changed, and the rules will continue to change in the future. So these are something that's always important to take a look at. Each division, like we spoke about in the last webinar 2 weeks ago, has different parameters. So currently, Division 1 and Division 2 are virtually recruiting for the rest of this month. Now, we're expecting this to go on a little bit longer given how the recent events have transpired in the United States, but for now, these 2 divisions are fully online for recruiting. So Zoom calls and everything like I mentioned before. Division 3 is a conference by conference basis, and this is quite common in Division 3 in general. It's a little more diluted, and things are disseminated out into small entities like the conferences. So there are 3 big conferences in Division 3. I won't name them all because they're acronyms and people won't know what they mean. That's totally okay. But the major conferences have elected to suspend recruiting into mid or late June on campus, or not just on campus, but also off campus. Off campus recruiting means tournaments, exposure camps, showcases, summer camp initiative. These are all being suspended for Division 3 schools. The sports that are most affected right now, unfortunately, in the recruiting process are those that occur in the fall. Soccer, cross country, volleyball, and fencing. So the fencing falls into some winter sports as well, but for the most part, they are in the fall. And so for these sports, they are teetering on that line of not being able to play in the fall, never mind recruit. Tennis also plays in the fall for some parts of the United States, but they're mainly a spring sport, so I will not include them for now. But for these sports I just mentioned, it's very important that they're on the field in the fall, never mind recruiting. So these sports might see some different measures being taken in the near future, as they might not be able to compete in the fall. Hopefully they do, and hopefully everyone's back on campus or heading to campus this fall. But for now, these are the sports that are most affected. What can I do to get ahead? So I've had many parents in various capacities ask me, what do I do? What do my kids do right now? Completely justified question. It's a tricky landscape we're in, of course, and we're hoping everything will turn positive soon. But for now, the most important thing, um, the most important things are highlighted here. First is continuing a fitness regime. This is usually provided by a school, a private coach, all of the above. Continuing that regime. I've told all of my student athletes, and I will tell all of those out there who are listening to this call, is keep it up. You want to come out of the pandemic fitter than how you were before when you entered it, because you have the time. Now, of course, it is the month of Ramadan, so those who are fasting, take care of yourself and observe the month, of course, if you are able to. Then we can speak about this later. But for those who are not fasting this month or not observing the holy month, keep up your fitness regime as best as you can. It's very important. I know it's hard. The motivation is not always there, myself included, definitely. But keep that up. Prepare a video of your skills. If you can, take a video of you playing. If you're a swimmer, okay, maybe that's not exactly possible unless you have a pool in your backyard. But for those who play other sports, take a video. If you're a soccer player, take a video of your ball handling skills. Ball handling is one of the, I think, probably the top thing that coaches are looking for in soccer. If you are a basketball player, look at your dribbling skills, your footwork, your foot speed. That's all things that you can do safely while social distancing. Gather your academic information. Okay, yes, I know that you're probably coming into finals period or just finishing up school. So I get that, but it's important to gather your academic information, like standardized testing scores, your transcripts, letters of recommendation, all the that go into an application. Gather them now while you have the time. And lastly, the next thing is communicate with coaches, like I mentioned before. Communicate as much as you can, obviously in a respectful way. Texting a coach every day will not get you recruited. Just word to the wise. And the last thing is rest. The second to last thing is rest any injuries. If you're feeling any injuries, don't push yourself. Now is not the time to push yourself in that extra workout in the afternoon. Make sure that you're healthy. And one thing that is not directly tied, well, it's directly tied, but it's not directly tied to the athlete, is standardized tests. Study, 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 please study. We have some great offerings and great coaches here at Hale to help with standardized tests for the ACT, SAT subject tests, TOEFL, IELTS, and also one-on-one academic tutoring. So we have all of these opportunities here at Hale. I highly recommend that student to prepare. I think that standardized tests are kind of the bane of student athletes' existence in some ways, as they're going through the recruiting process, and they can really limit opportunities and scholarships even for some of our athletes. So please study, please keep it up. I know it's hard, but you can do it. Keep up that studying. These tests are really important, and you would like to have them out of the way as soon as possible. Obviously, we're hoping that they'll be offered this summer, particularly the ACTs, the next offer date in June. But we'll see how that goes. Alrighty, and then I just wanted to answer your questions. So we have about 10 minutes left. I can answer your questions. If anyone has any, I'm happy to answer any questions if anything I didn't cover. I do want to say that this is a bi-weekly call, but if anyone has any questions about our call or want to see any of these webinars afterwards, or maybe if your student athlete can't join us because they're doing schoolwork or maybe even in school right now, they're welcome to check them out on our YouTube page and on our website. So now I'll turn it over if you have any questions. Our moderator. Okay, I don't think we have any questions for now, and that's totally understandable. I guess I covered everything for today. If there are no questions, I will end this there. I do want to say for our next session, I'm very excited to have one of our student athletes joining us. She will discuss her recruiting experience as she approaches her next endeavor in New York City. She was scheduled to join us today. Unfortunately, she could not, and it's totally fine. So she'll join us next week, and in 2 weeks, and I'm very excited to have her on the call. She has had a very dynamic experience, and I'm very proud of her and her endeavors. So she will join us in the call in 2 weeks. And again, if anyone has any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. Our information can be found online and on our website, hilleducation.com. Thank you all very much. I will see you in 2 weeks' time, same place, right here on Zoom. Thank you.